The story starts off with several abyssal gates opening above a town, only for demonic-looking creatures to appear, forcing Brandon Stolen to gear up to protect his villages. RMC. Noel Stolen is frightened to hear his grandpa Brandon will be heading out to protect his village, all whilst Noel and their workers are asked to remain in their shelter until the capital arrives. Noel cries that Brandon is simply giving away his life, but Brandon triumphantly reminds Noel that he is a formidable warrior, words that inspire Noel to believe in Brandon's safe return. On the battlefield, we see the demons wreaking havoc, but a single beam of light pierces the chaos as Brandon takes center stage. With his trusty axe by his side, Brandon begins making quick work of the demons that swarm him. But not before long, a massive explosion marks the end of the battle. Noel is the first to rush outside to check on his grandpa. But Noel cries, seeing his grandpa has been mortally wounded, something Brandon doesn't regret, as his role as a seeker with the title of Overdeath was put to the test in his final moments. As the sun rises on a new day, Noel cries that he too will become a seeker and make his grandpa proud. And with Brandon's final words cheering Noel on, we move 2 years forward in time. Having upheld his promise to become a seeker, we see Noel in a cave with his party, Lloyd the swordsman, Tanya Clark the healer, and Walter the warrior, all whilst giving commands to deal with the monsters before them, only to reveal that his class as the Talker is the weakest support class of them all. Apparently, the monsters they slayed were lesser vampires, beings incapable of magic that are created by their queen, but they're still quite strong as they can't be slain unless their head is lobbed off. As the gang head deeper into the cave, Walter asks why they're hunting the lesser vampires when they can pick off their queen, but Noel reminds Walter that they're still only C ranks and that the queen with her kin is still too strong for them. Seeing how serious Noel is, Walter apologizes for questioning Noel's methods. But Walter does mock Noel for housing the Talker class that only specializes in buffing others with their words, a skill that allows their C-rank party to take on their current B-rank quest. Before Noel can snap back at Walter, we see the vampire queen appear from the shadows, only to spew out a hazy, poisonous fog that enshrouds Noel. The gang cry that Noel is in trouble, prompting Tanya to prepare a spell to clear the fog, but the queen simply blows Tanya back. When Walter rushes to brawl with the creature, we see Noel barely holding it together in the poisonous fog, and sadly, it seems the party stands no chance against the demonic vampire queen. Annoyed that everyone is looking down on him, Noel retrieves a potion only to burst through the fog, having equipped his revolver, ready to face the queen. Getting to work, Noel casts his tactician skill, an ability that enhances his teammates by 25%. Noel manages to predict and order his team to evade the creature's tentacle attacks, only to continue buffing them with his battle voice skill, ultimately giving the others enough courage to begin turning the tides. When Tanya sees that enemy reinforcements have arrived, Noel is forced to cast his peer support spell to snap Tanya out of her frightened state, only to set a timer for 74 seconds. Noel cries that he'll take on the small fries whilst the others deal with the queen, immediately using his voice to stun the attacking demons, only to finish them off with ice bullets fired by his magic gun Silver Flame. With a single lesser demon left, Noel declares that everything is going according to plan, swiftly drawing the attention of the queen with his last bullet. As Noel's timer ticks down, he chooses to cast his assault command to further enhance his team, and with their new powers, they manage to slay the queen with their ultimate trump cards. Before the gang can celebrate, they turn to see the final demon rushing Noel, but having timed everything perfectly, Noel states that the queens can all stop moving after she's passed away, officially marking the end of their battle. With another blue Beyond mission completed, the gang scolds Noel for being so reckless. But Noel can only think back to the moment when he cried after he was assigned the weak Talker class. Brandon had reassured Noel that if he worked harder, he could become a seeker, just like Brandon himself. And in the present, Noel once again declares he'll become a seeker that surpasses his late grandpa. In the imperial capital of the Venant Empire, Itrai, we see various advanced machinery roaming the land, all thanks to Magi engineering. It's quite well known that seekers are people who hunt beasts and purify lands affected by the abyss. And when Noel had turned 15, he moved to a try-and search for a party to fight alongside. The gang all celebrate a successful mission that pays out 5 million Phil coins, a surprise seeing as it is their first year together. But Noel mentions how a scout could further enhance their party. Seeing Noel lost in thought, Walter begins teasing Noel for being too serious all the time. And when Walter mocks Noel's father for raising Noel to only care about money, Noel suddenly snaps. Flashing back, Brandon is seen instructing Noel to earn and spend his money wisely on the gear he brings to battle. And to top things off, Brandon had instructed Noel to ignore the people who look down on him. Noel manages to quench his anger, but this only riles Walter up more as he says Noel is way too weak and young to be acting so tough. But sternly, Noel says Walter is too dumb to draw out his own strength, something that catches everyone's attention. As Walter continues to badmouth Noel, Noel simply stokes the flame, only for both boys to prepare to brawl. Luckily, Lloyd steps in and breaks them up, only to cut to later that evening where the gang are given 250,000 coins each after all the repair fees for their gear. Seeing Tanya sad, Lloyd chooses to comfort her, but Noel reminds everyone that high-paying missions are rare, especially since they're only subcontractors. Noel says working for others is way too taxing for them, and seeing as their party has saved up around 12 million coins, Noel cries he'll cover the remaining 8 million coins so they can start their own clan. Immediately, Lloyd and Tanya fear that they'll need to find land for a home base, plus they're too inexperienced. But Noel stands strong, declaring that they'll use their youthful looks to climb up the ladder and join those who have already established themselves with the government. Walter is clearly enticed by the fame and power he'll get when he grows stronger, wondering if he can even bag Tanya down the line, but Lloyd steps in to stop Walter's advances. Seeing as Walter is on board and Tanya is against, Noel threatens to leave the party if Lloyd turns tail on his dream. But seeing Noel's conviction, Lloyd agrees to start a clan with Noel. Seeing as Lloyd is the leader, he says they'll finalize everything in 2 days' time at his place, prompting everyone to head off for the day. With Tanya and Lloyd acting strangely, we cut to the big day, where Walter reports that Tanya and Lloyd had run off with their funds, only leaving behind a single note. Reading the note, Noel hears that Lloyd had actually used the money their party saved up to pay off his own debt, something that makes Noel burst out laughing. Walter says he had found another interesting job for them, but when he went to tell Lloyd about the job, all he found was an empty room with only the note. Noel hears that Tanya and Lloyd left around 8 last night, annoying Noel as they waited till last minute to flee the scene, and seeing as they have a 12-hour lead, Noel says they'll follow after them. Seeing Walter fired up, Noel reminds Walter that their friends betrayed them, so the only way to settle things is a battle to the death. Walter says he can take on Lloyd with Noel's help, but Walter admits that attacking Tanya would be hard, but Noel could care less as he wants his money back. Suiting up, the boys head to the Orc Club, only for Noel to announce that their own party members had run off with their money. Noel sets a bounty of 2 million coins for anyone that can capture them alive, but Walter demands to know what Noel is doing. Noel says it'll all make sense soon, leading the Lightning Bite party led by Wolf Lehman to accept, but this encourages other seekers from different parties to join in. Confronted by an older-looking seeker, the old man utters that he saw Tanya and Lloyd whilst returning from his adventures, and when the old man demands 2 million coins for the intel, Noel glares at him, declaring he'll only pay 1 million coins at most. Having assessed the old man to be a desperate soul, Noel gets the old man to accept his conditions, revealing that he saw Tanya and Lloyd passing by the Varley Road outside the South Gate, and it seems they're headed for Carno Village. With Noel instructing Walter to escort the old man and his party to the South Gate. Noel arrives a little late since he needs to set up something, confirming to Walter that he is ready to put down his own party when the time comes. With everyone ready, they set off towards Carno Village, but as we cut to Lloyd and Tanya, we see they've only just made it to Carno Village on foot. When the lovers make plans to rest for the night, they're horrified when they spot Noel and Walter have caught up to them. And as the rest of the Seekers make themselves known, Lloyd draws his blade only to be stunned by Noel's howl skill. Walter immediately begins interrogating Lloyd for their money back, but Lloyd cries that his poor investment choices wiped out their party's funds, Sadly, Noel deduces that Lloyd had actually been gambling away their money behind their backs. Finally revealing his true colors, Lloyd cries that he didn't want to be the leader in the first place, and it was natural that he could use the party's money as he pleases. But this pisses Noel off as he whacks Lloyd in the face with a kick. As Noel begins stomping Lloyd's head in, he reminds Lloyd that he demanded to be their leader when they first formed their party. But Tanya begs Noel to stop. Suspecting Tanya is hiding things as well, Noel uses his confess skill to force Tanya to admit to gambling with Lloyd, annoying Tanya as she says mind control is illegal. Sadly, Noel could care less since he is dealing with criminals. And as Noel's rage reaches its breaking point, he suddenly announces that Tanya and Lloyd will be turned in and locked up where they can work off their debts. Seeing as things are wrapped up, the old man demands his 1 million coin payment. But seeing the old geezer getting a little aggressive, Noel strikes the man with an empowered punch. In the past, his Gramps had taught Noel to aim for his enemy's weak points in order to have a fighting chance, especially since his talker class doesn't allow him to buff himself. As the old man is carried off to rest, we suddenly see a flamboyant-looking carriage arriving, only for Finocchio Barzini, one of the owners of the biggest mafia groups in the imperial capital, to appear. Noel acknowledges Finocchio to be a very dangerous man, having been given the title of Mad Clown, and it seems Noel had made a deal with Finocchio to sell off Tanya and Lloyd to make up for their lost funds. When Tanya and Lloyd refuse to be sold, Noel reminds the pair that being arrested by the government is the worst, and as Finocchio heads to appraise his new merchandise, he reports that they're only worth 6 million. Noel cries that the amount is too low, but Finocchio says the Holy Cross Church is cracking down on slave trade, an issue even a mafia can't solve. Although Noel understands Finocchio's pain, he still demands 11 million coins, but when Finocchio refuses to pay, Noel raises the amount to 15 million. Finocchio gets pissed seeing how cocky Noel is, but Noel says he'll say he sold the duo for 30 million, and seeing as Lloyd and Tanya are quite young, Noel says Finocchio will be able to sell them for an even greater amount. Enticed by the deal, Finocchio agrees to keep their deal between them, even ordering the old man and his party to keep quiet about their deal. With Finocchio paying the 15 million coins, we see Tanya begging Walter for help. But when Walter refuses, Tanya reveals her true colors, admitting that she knew Walter was in love with her and she was using him all this time. Just like that, the duo are dragged off, and with Noel paying the old geezer his dues, Noel smirks, having been given the title of Heartless Devil. In the coming days, we follow Noel seeing Walter off for the final time, flashing back to the moment when Walter had told Noel he would be quitting as a Seeker. Noel had asked Walter to rebuild their Blue Beyond party from scratch, but Walter refused, cutting back to the present where Noel bids Walter farewell, both dwelling in whatever memories they had of their former party, only for Walter to admit that Tanya had secretly loved Noel all along. Back at the Orc Club, we see Wolf trying to recruit Noel for his own party, announcing that their Lighting Bite Sirang party is composed of skilled individuals, plus they have an elven archer named Lisha. When Wolf continues to annoy Noel, Noel agrees to join on the condition that he is made the leader of their party, something Wolf's party members aren't opposed to. Before Wolf can negotiate, they're all alerted by a mysterious-looking girl who asks to speak with Noel. Introducing herself as Alma Judicali, she says she has come to take the interview to join Noel's party, and seeing as Alma is 21 and is 5 years older than Noel, Noel becomes intrigued. With Alma answering other questions the Lightning Bite members throw at her, she tops things off by declaring she is a C-rank scout, and before Noel can ask why Alma has become a Seeker, she reveals that she had been searching for Noel all this time. Alma says Brandon had actually fought with her own Gramps in the past, and it ended with Brandon slicing off Alma's Gramps' arm. And luckily, Alma feels no hatred towards Noel for what Brandon did. Both Alma and Noel utter that their Gramps passed away already, but curious Noel asks who Alma's Gramps was, suddenly freezing when he hears it was Alcor Judicali, a legendary assassin in the Underworld Enterprise. Having been listening to their conversation, Logan, a fellow Seeker, accuses Alma of lying, plus Noel mentions how a Seeker is defined by their class, rank, and strength. Alma offers to pummel Logan to prove she is strong, and as Logan rushes her with a punch, Alma easily slips the attack only to stab at Logan's throat with her palm. As Logan drops to his knees, Alma throws out an axe kick to put Logan to sleep, officially granting her a position in Noel's party. That evening, Noel buys Alma a burger to snack on, a food item Alma has never tasted before since she lived in the mountains. Noel admits he didn't believe Alma's story at first, but Alma says she knew Noel was over Death's grandson the moment she saw Noel's eyes, having been warned by Alcor to never engage with Overdeath since he was too unpredictable. Alma says she had trained in the mountains to be a scout and eventually become an assassin, but Noel asks why Alma doesn't just rank up to a B-rank seeker and join the Society of Assassins. Apparently, when Alma took the assassin's test, she was pitted up against a weakling that she easily danced circles around, but before she could put down her opponent, the new head of the society stopped her. Simon Gregory declared that Alma wasn't fit to join them, and although she is strong enough, her old ways of thinking don't suit the society. Noel also hears that the new Assassin Society will be partnering with the government to preserve their future, freaking Noel out as such intel is dangerous, but Alma says she'll protect Noel moving forward. The next day, the duo head into a forest, only for Noel to fill Alma in on his skills as a talker, uttering that his role is quite important as he has to assess the battlefield and give commands since he can't buff himself. Stopping by a river, Noel asks Alma to catch a monster for him, creatures that have been mutated but aren't as scary as beasts that appear from the abyss. As Alma's first task, Noel says she'll be hunting a killer rabbit whilst he buffs her, uttering that Alma will need to get used to her new body with his skills. Alma says she has the Excel skill to multiply her speed 5-fold, and seeing as it took a while for her body to get used to her speed skill, Noel says he's intrigued to see how long it'll take for Alma to get used to his buffs. Fired up, Alma gets serious, only to declare that there are 13 killer rabbits in a 200-meter radius of them. As Noel casts Tactician and Battle Voice on Alma, Alma begins to feel a strange sensation as power seems to be overflowing from her. And with her new buffs, Noel says Alma will be able to increase her speed 6-fold. Setting a timer for 10 seconds, Noel orders Alma to catch at least one rabbit in the span of 10 seconds, prompting Alma to speed off into the forest, amazed by how light her body is. Before the 10 seconds elapses, Alma returns with all 13 bunnies, making Noel jealous at how skilled Alma is. Seeing as they're ready, Noel shows Alma a letter addressed to him asking for help with clearing out some bandits on the outskirts of the Mince village. A perfect first mission for their revitalized Blue Beyond party, setting off towards their destination by carriage. Noel says there are various jobs they partake in as seekers apart from slaying beasts that appear from the abyss, and these mainly include monster hunting, capturing criminals, treasure hunting, and even mythic hunting. For their bandit hunt, it seems like the regional lord had failed to help out the village in need, inspiring Alma to work hard as she wants to make Noel proud. Noel is taken back by the feeling of adventuring with his former party, and as we move forward in time, we see Alma has strained her bottom from sitting too much. Choosing to rest for the night in the town of Eudora, Noel says they'll continue to Mince the next day, but as he searches around town, Noel fails to book an inn for them. After a while of searching, our duo succeed in booking a single room, and seeing as Noel is happy to sleep on the floor, Alma teases Noel for being a good boy. With Alma decompressing with some stretches, we see Noel wrap up a shower, but Alma is impressed by how toned Noel's body is. When Alma inspects Noel's body, she declares that it's a shame that Noel will never be as strong as his Gramps, seeing as no amount of hard work can outwork his terrible talker class. But Noel could care less, ordering Alma to wash up. At night, Noel collapses into bed, only to think about how unfair it is that he was born into such a weak body. The next day, Noel is awoken by the sweet embrace of some buns. But as Noel and Alma head out to Mince, they greet the village chief, as it's been a long time. The chief is a little worried, seeing as Noel's party is now only composed of one other person. But regardless, he invites our duo in for some tea. Off to the side, we see Chelsea, the village chief's daughter, spying on them. But Noel apologizes as he believes Chelsea was looking forward to meeting Lloyd again. getting down to business. Noel confirms that around 20 bandits have been terrorizing the nearby villages, and it seems they take the village's women. Luckily, the chief says their hideout is somewhere near the rocky clearing in the East Forest. With Noel given his upfront payment of 200,000 coins and promised another 300,000 upon completion, Noel and Alma immediately set out. But Alma is pissed seeing as the chief was sneaking glances at her. Before they get too far, we see Chelsea catching up to them only to wish them good luck. But Noel notices Chelsea holding the dragonfly bamboo Noel had made her in the past. As Chelsea runs off, Alma tries teasing Noel for charming such an innocent girl. But Noel ignores her, cutting to later that night where our duo have found the bandits' hideout. Upon further inspection, Noel says there are more than 20 bandits plus, it seems that Gordo the Razorblade is their leader, a B-rank scout with a 2 million coin bounty. Noel says Alma will take on Gordo whilst he deals with the others. And with Alma sneaking into the bandits' camp with her stealth skill, Noel makes use of his link skill to communicate with Alma. Having made it to Gordo's tent, Alma gives Noel a signal to use his howling roar, instantly stunning all the bandits but Gordo, and with Noel buffing Alma, she swiftly assassinates Gordo with a single blow. Seeing the bandits rushing Alma, Noel orders Alma to keep them busy as he rushes to her side, and with a flash grenade, Noel fires off some fiery bullets that incinerate the remaining bandits. Returning to the village chief, Noel shows off Gordo's head to confirm they finished their job, but to celebrate, the chief invites our duo in for a hearty meal before he pays the rest of the promised coins. The chief reports that Chelsea had been assessed as a swordsman, exciting Noel as he advises Chelsea to train at a try where the classes will be free, but she'll still need to cover her living and travel expenses. Chelsea is sad she needs to save up money, but Noel says she can earn some cash by working as a supporter for some seekers, and she can start by registering for the Supporters Guild. Off to the side, we see the chief and his wife exchanging suspicious glances, all whilst Noel continues to hype Chelsea up as he promises to recruit her in the future. Cutting the conversation short, the chief chooses to uncork an expensive-looking wine, choosing to serve a cup to both Noel and Alma to thank them for their hard work. Immediately, Noel detects something is off with the expensive wine, instead asking the chief to take the first sip, especially since he had poisoned the wine. Insulted, the chief demands to know what proof Noel has. But Noel simply points out how the chief lied about the number of thieves they had to face, plus the wine is quite cheap, and Noel can sense the chief's bloodlust. Noel says he knows the chief is only using them and wants to steal their expensive gear, and before Noel can ask the chief to drink the wine, the chief knocks it away. Annoyed, Noel uses his confess skill to have the chief admit to poisoning the wine, and with Chelsea in disbelief, Noel rushes to pluck out one of the chief's eyes. When the chief begs for his life, Noel demands every last coin the chief has, but the chief says he needs to repay his dues to the Gambino family. Noel could care less, preparing to pluck out the chief's other eye, but Chelsea arrives just in time, offering up all 800,000 coins they have been saving up, an amount that makes Noel stand down. As Noel leaves, Chelsea declares that she hates all seekers, but Alma teases Noel for hurting Chelsea even though she liked him. Ignoring Alma, Noel points out the giant airship flying above them, and upon seeing the Goat Dinner clan with a 3-star regalia, Noel says the clan has been acknowledged by the Empire. Noel explains that there are 7 regalia clans in total, with the 4 weakest clans housing 3 regalia stars, 2 clans housing 2 regalia stars, and the strongest clan housing a single regalia star. Alma is impressed that the 7 regalia clans can have their own airship, but Noel says the clans are also powerful and wealthy, a new goal that Noel says they'll reach in a year's time. Suddenly remembering something, we cut back to before Alma failed her Assassin Society exam, as Simon had accused Alma of being the one to put down Alcor when he got too old. Without denying it, Alma says she was raised to slay the weak, and once Alcor grew old, she found her chance to slay her gramps. Simon says it's a pity that Alcor was never able to defeat over death. But interestingly, Simon deduces that Alma is actually Alcor's daughter, another secret Alma had been hiding. Alma says that Alcor had given birth to many children in hopes of raising a child that could equal or even surpass his own strength. And over time, Alma was the one that survived out of all of his children, and it was then when she snuffed out Alcor and took his place. Simon had told Alma she wasn't fit to join their new assassin society, seeing as her brutal way of killing isn't what they need to sustain their society. But this only makes Alma tear up, as she had devoted 21 years of her life only to be rejected. With Alma falling into despair, Simon had mentioned how Overdeath had a grandchild of his own. Simon says Alma should learn how to live for herself, and maybe even learn a thing or two from Noelle. And having heeded Simon's advice, we see Alma embracing Noelle as she declares she'll forever be by Noelle's side.